All right, so we're going to have the moon entering Gemini within a few hours. So this is going to be representations of areas where you need to socialize, communicate, connect with individuals, and of course, have an interaction. Feel me? Communication is key when we utilize the moon in Gemini. And the moon's going to feel comfortable with doing this. But it's going to be feeling comfortable with talking and communicating about goals, building, bonds, and of course, interacting with individuals where we can basically connect. Now, what's going to help you out is wherever you have your opposite sign, which is going to be soon bringing it in conjunction in the full moon when it comes to this moon in Cancer. So it's going to basically be a full moon. Right now, it's going to be the in conjunction, the misunderstandings. But of course, it's going to bring you right into the full moon, where we're going to experience full blossoms, full connections, and of course, full areas where you're going to basically be receiving love, nurture, and care. So wherever you got Gemini at in your charts, these are the areas where you need to basically communicate, socialize, and of course, be changeable and adaptable. Also, you're going to be basically picking up and adapting to other past ideas or past ideas from the past interactions, past situations, past scenarios may basically appear and pop up during this time. So be aware of that. Feel me? So we're going to basically run down the houses, and we're going to basically explain the zodiac signs that's going to basically be getting hit with these energies. But we're going to basically do the zodiac signs first for the individuals that may not be aware of their house placements at the moment. Now, your house is basically your habitats, areas where you're going to develop these areas. Feel me? Your zodiac sign is just going to be the actions that you partake, the actions that you receive, and the actions that you are going behind unconsciously. Now, when it comes to Aries or Aries Sun, Moon, Ascendances, you guys are going to be basically in the 360 of opportunities, which you could basically be direct towards, communicating, interacting, of course, expressing how you feel about a situation or a scenario during this time. Tauruses don't like changes, but there's going to be experiences of changes and miscommunications when it comes to the things dealing with earthly pleasures. Now, Geminis is going to be basically the on-stage representation of what it appears to do and how you're going to basically conduct yourself. Cancers will basically be developing changes, also miscommunications when it comes to the way you're feeling about things. Leos are going to be in a situation of having opportunities to take center stage and express what's on their mind. Virgos are going to be developing conflicts, learning experiences when it comes to interactions, and looking at the details of communications. Libras are going to be basically having a gift towards their cycles of relationships, having a gift to basically be indecisive and communicate with individuals on this time. Scorpios are going to be basically developing misunderstandings when it comes to the miscommunications about interactions or deep past ideas and shit. Sagittarius are going to be basically the representations of the opposites, which basically, you're going to be getting hit with the opposing energies. Now, these experiences are going to play out towards past experiences, past moralities that you're going to express may not appear to basically work during this time, or just past differences. That's going to basically be in a rectified state. See, also, Capricorns are going to be in the situations of dealing with misunderstandings when it comes to reality and, coming down to earth. Well, not coming down to earth, but coming down to, interactions and socializing during this time. It's going to be miscommunication when it comes to your businesses and your careers. Aquariuses are going to have the gift to be unique and, of course, interact their ideas into the world. Also, Pisces are going to be developing conflicts when it comes to learning experiences towards what they communicate about or what their sensitivity is going to be rectified in. See, when it comes to the houses now, see, if you have Gemini in your first house, this is a Gemini ascendant. So you're going to basically be leaning by the example when it comes to your personalities, your personal communications, feel me? This is going to be past ideas that start to develop towards your personality and what you got personally going on right now. Past ideas, past surroundings, past friends, past situationships going to basically be popping up during this time. What's going to help you is balance, equilibrium, because when the full moon get into Cancer, you gotta be going into the full moon with at least some form of balance when it comes to your personality. Try not to be too scattered or getting involved in too many things or being guilty by association during this time. Also, with your seventh house, it's going to basically be bringing past experiences when it comes to past endeavors or past interactions. So you're going to be basically getting hit with all kind of past experiences, but you got to decipher which ones are going to be basically going to pursue best for you during this time. Now, if you got Gemini in the second house, you're going to be basically communicating about your values during this time. Now, you're going to be going through some changes when it comes to your values, and you may not want to change because this is a fixed house right here. But Gemini is here, so you got to basically put yourself into a situation of using your opposite house, which would basically be Scorpio. So you need to be very deep with how you communicate and interact with things during this time. Feel me? That's gonna help you put you into situations of not being too stagnated or too scattered during this time. That's gonna basically help you with this pursuit and with this efforts. But also, you're gonna be basically dealing with you're gonna be basically communicating about past things, past values and shit like that. But also you're gonna have past desires that's gonna appear to basically come your way. So be aware of that shit. Past desires when it comes to your experiences and what you basically dealt with from the past are going to be coming back up shit. So be aware of that. Third house. So you're going to basically be put into a situation of thinking and communicating, of course, interacting with your environment, your surroundings, your friends during this time. For me, you can be very charging, very impulsive during this time. You could also be experiencing some trauma when it comes to your surroundings, or someone in your surroundings can be basically bringing trauma your way. You're going to also be basically dealing with past friends that may basically pop up. And also you're going to be basically dealing with past relationships that basically going to pop up in your surroundings or your environment, or past ex or some shit going to basically hit you up. Now, you got to be very aware. We also in the retrograde when it comes to the North Node and the South Node. And this house placement is Aries. So you're also going to the Chiron Aries trauma. So you need to be very aware and very cautious of basically who you surround yourself with. This full moon about to come, so you don't want to fuck up. Be around with certain individuals. Be guilty by association with the wrong individuals in your surroundings right now. Okay. Now, when it comes to Gemini in the fourth house, this is putting you into a category of dealing with faith, hope, and luck when it comes to your home, your family, and your privacy during this time. See, you're going to be basically communicating about your privacies during the time, interacting with home, family, and shit like that. That's what you're going to be basically interacting with right now. Also, this house right here is a cardinal house. So you're going to be basically developing new feelings, new emotions, and new pickup lines. With this house, you just need to adapt to things that's working to your favors when it comes to your privacies and things like that matter. That's going to basically help cope with you. You only basically be coming up with new feelings or coming up with new attachments on this time. I mean, just sit back, watch, analyze, and adapt on this time. What's going to help you is your 10th house. Focusing on, you're going to also have some experiences of your 10th house. That's going to be basically dealing with past businesses, past goals, and past responsibilities may basically appear. But that's going to help blend you out and balance you out during this time too. Because when the full moon into your 11th house, you can basically help. You can take care of your situations of your 4th house with the Gemini here in your 10th house. It's going to put you into a suit where you can basically associate what you got going on. And there won't basically be a situation where you're clogged up or you ain't basically reach climax during this time. So try not to be guilty by association. You're going to be basically guilty by association when it comes to your home and your family. Try to put yourself in situations that's going to bring comfortability or communicate about how you feel during this time. That's what you need to do. Don't hold things in. 5th house is putting you into a category of dealing with communicating about your talents, communicating about your gifts, or communicating about past experiences with your talents or your gifts. Try not to be guilty by association when it comes to your dealing with this area, because for me, you may put yourself into a situation trying to get some creativity talents or some creativity endeavor, but you're going to basically put yourself into a situation trying to limit yourself because you're going to be all over the goddamn place. I mean, you're going to be basically communicating, of course, interacting about a whole lot of things, a whole lot of hobbies and shit like that. It's going to put you into a situation of trying to be stuck and, of course, stagnated in your gifts and talents. I mean, but you're going to go through some restrictions and some limitations in this area too, because this is a fixed house, but Gemini is mutable. So you basically need to learn how to basically blend in a little bit, but you're going to have opportunities to basically go ahead and communicate about your talents and, of course, interact with other individuals and, of course, not make it seem like you're stuck into one way of basically consuming that. Now, when it comes to your 5th house, for me, what's going to help you in this situation is your 11th house, the public. For me, finding equilibrium and balance towards what you got going on in your 5th house and interacting that with the public, your friends, the unknown, or individuals that's basically having other talents where you can come together and teamwork, make the motherfucking dream work, and you know how that goes. Now, when we're talking about Gemini in the 6th house, this is basically putting you into a category of, Gemini in the 6th house is putting you into a category Yeah, what house is it? Yeah, Gemini in the 6th house. So you're gonna be basically going through some conflict during this time with this house right here. You're gonna be basically going through some conflict. See, this conflict is gonna basically put you into a situation of communicating, being guilty by association when it comes to your health or what you got going on right here. Try not to think too hard about that right now. For me, try to like loosen up in this area. Because you're going to basically put yourself into a situation, you're going through transformation right now. Feel me? You're going through some power control issues when it comes to your health, when it comes to your 6th house and shit like that. Try not to put yourself into a situation of basically thinking too hard about these things, feel me? Try to breathe, try to sit back, feel me? Smoke a blunt, sit back and chill, feel me? You're going to be basically communicating about health. You're going to be communicating about your routine. You're going to be communicating about your desires and shit. That's going to be putting you into transformations, feel me? Put yourself into a situation or environment where you basically like balance this area out for me. Because if you have balance in this area, and that balance is going to help when it comes to your 12th house, for me. Doing things behind closed doors, solitude, peace, you know, getting some dreams and imaginations and sparking some fantasies right here. That's going to basically help you take your mind off of certain things during this time. It's going to basically not bring any burdens for me. But you're also going to have past illusions that's going to basically pop up too. So be aware of that. But try to blend these two out and you'll be all right. This way, when the full moon gets into Cancer, you'll be out in your 7th house. You'll be able to actually have balance and relatability. Now, when it comes to Gemini in the 7th house, yeah, Gemini in the 7th house, this is putting you into a situation of being guilty by association when it comes to who you relate to. For me, during this time, you'll be basically guilty by association about past relationships, past endeavors, or individuals. But you're gonna be dealing with some opposite here. For me. You may basically be dealing with opposing energy. Try not to put yourself into a situation basically being too out there in the open, for me. Try to use your first house, for me, which is the Gemini ascendant. Try to be selfish, for me. Try to cut off any ties with individuals. Try to be like selfish during this time. Try not to be too out there and about. Try not to have every finger and every pie during this situation, for me. But this is also gonna bring past experiences of you being self-centered. But this is also gonna help you during this time, because when the full moon get it going to the next house, you'll be able to actually be like situated and prosperous when it comes to your 8th house, if I ain't mistaken. So yeah, to be aware of that. Also, when it comes to Gemini in the 8th house, you're gonna be basically being guilty by association when it comes to your sexual urges and your sexual desires. You're basically gonna be thinking deeply about these things. Try to loosen up. What's gonna help you is basically your 2nd house, having patience, being down to earth, being stable and shit. Try to be stable when it comes to that area, But you're gonna be going through some changes when it comes to your to your opposite side. But you're gonna have to go through some changes when it comes to your desires and shit. 9th house, you're gonna be put into a situation of basically being guilty by association when it comes to experiences, moralities, and of course expressing preaching, teaching aspects. Try to basically be a preacher, teacher during the time. Try to like sit back, retract, and of course, you'll be all right. Don't put yourself in a situation to basically being all over the place and communicating about everything during this time, You're gonna be all over the goddamn place, but you're gonna have you're gonna be dealing with opposite energies. So you're gonna be dealing with opposing energies when it comes to your morals and your principles and other individuals and shit. What's gonna help you basically is you're gonna be your 7th house, or your third house, your environment, your surroundings and shit. Try to bring peace and harmony in that area. 10th house, you're gonna be thinking and communicating about your goals and ambitions and responsibilities. You're gonna be guilty by association about these things too. But also, what's gonna help you is past home, past privacy, past situations when it comes to home, dealing with the familiarity, and of course the familia. Just try to be organized in that area. Try to be practical. You're gonna be developing misunderstandings when it comes to this area too. Trying to basically put yourself out there in that situation, being too vulnerable and too open. 11th house, you're gonna be basically thinking and communicating, or being guilty by association when it comes to your groups. You may basically be around the wrong groups during this time. You may have to retract, get away from these motherfuckers, or put yourself into a situation, basically, using your 5th house, being selfish, taking the lead and getting the fuck away from these individuals. You may go through a lot of divorces, a whole lot of breakups, a whole lot of individuals that's may basically be trying to steal your shine, all kind of shit in this area, So be aware, be careful in that area. And last but not least, 12th house. This is basically communicating about or being guilty by association when it comes to your dreams, imaginations, and desires. What's going to help you is basically bringing those dreams and desires onto a practical essence when it comes to your 6th house, being practical, being stable. Also past routines that may pop during this time, but trying to put yourself into a situation of being over critical and over dramatic about it. You're going to go through a learning process. You're going to go through some conflicts, but this conflict is basically going to better help you towards the full moon, which is you, the full moon Cancer.